Hey guys, what's up? It's Max and Chuck here on the rooftop of the Burrow. We're here to talk about this book, Breath, and we're here to talk about how breathing relates to athletic performance. There are basically three things that we want to cover today. First thing, why you should never breathe through your mouth, ever.
Always through the nose.
Number two, why carbon dioxide is the most misunderstood gas in the world.
And number three,
how a Dutch mail carrier learned to run a half marathon shirtless in the Arctic Circle, otherwise known as Wim Hof. So we'll talk a little bit about mouth breathing. There have been some pretty crazy experiments, some that are detailed in this book, utilizing monkeys that have determined that our facial structure has a massive impact on how we actually breathe. Now there are some cool devices and stuff that you can get. I know there's I want to call it in-mouth units, otherwise known as a pod, that you can get that basically replicate more prehistoric chewing, because over the years with all of our processed foods, we've actually become used to chewing less, which has changed the bone structure in our face and allows us to breathe less freely than we once were able to.
and bouncing off of that, the chewing process is the first start of the digestion process as well. So everything that we eat as food go into the mouth, and then the moment we start chewing, it has an impact on our metabolism. What's the second one?
Second thing. So as we talk about always breathing through your nose, one of the tactics in here is actually to tape over your mouth while you sleep. I don't know if you want to try this, but you literally put medical tape across your mouth and just sleep like that as a mummy.
And don't be around a body of water when you do this either, because if you get any sort of that holes blocked up, then bad news will happen from there. So going on to that third point, Chuck?
Third point, we're going to talk about a doctor who is detailed in this book, Dr. Stowe, who visited a ward of patients that was suffering from emphysema and was actually able to get a lot of them walking and talking again at a level that they were previously unable to, just because he realized that they were not exhaling fully. Now this guy was a choir director, so he had some experience with breath, and it wasn't actually that they weren't able to breathe in enough air, they were still fine with that. It was more that they weren't exhaling fully.
Okay.
So we're gonna practice, guys, we're gonna practice some of these breathing techniques and show you a few of them, just to kind of explain how this can be applied to your daily process as an athlete, because these things, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you could use some of these tactics to prepare yourself, your sympathetic or parasympathetic nervous systems for competition or for recovery.
Yeah, so if you're feeling stressed out, whether it is competition or you have a big exam or interview, some of these breathing techniques can be utilized and you'll see the benefits pretty quickly. It'll help lower your heart rate. It's proven to help reduce your blood pressure as well, and overall improve your mood and quality of life.
And we didn't even talk about Swami Rama, I think his name was.
No, but Swami Rama is a gentleman that has a lot of information simply on breathing and the science behind it. Our minds and bodies are connected, and the bridge between us, that is the breathing that we do. So we want to utilize the full capacity that we have, more specifically learning how to breathe through our diaphragm and not so much our chest, and getting our full breaths of air for our bodily processes to take place.
And he visited a psychiatric ward and was tested for his body control. I'm not really sure why he would just walk into a psychiatric ward to have these tests done.
But it had something to do with the body temperature, right?
Yeah, he was able to create a differential of 11 degrees between his pinky and his thumb within one hand. He was able to control his heart rate all the way up to 300 beats per minute, which is like, you should be dying at that point.
Yeah,
for 30 seconds, he held it at 300 beats per minute.
Yeah, it's asking for a heart attack, but the man did amazing things, and he's come up with lots of theories about breathing in itself. And just like Chuck was saying, the fact that you can regulate your own body temperature through something that's free, and something that we're very unconscious about too, the breathing act. So let's go ahead and demonstrate a little bit for you.
Do it, guys, and if you want to check out this book, we'll link it below. It was mentioned by David Blaine in Joe Rogan's podcast as well. We've all seen his breathing prowess, and I think this can be something that could be readily used by an athlete. And there's such a misunderstanding about breathing and, like I said, carbon dioxide, that this really clarifies it, and allows you an opportunity to capitalize on something that's free that we can all apply. So guys, we're going to talk about some of the breathing techniques that you can actively apply. A few tricks. Chewing gum can help restructure your bone structure over time to allow you to breathe better. So that's a quick little trick. Number 2 is box breathing. So this is something the US Navy SEALs use a lot to calm down in stressful situations. And it's box breathing because you breathe on the count of 4. So you're breathing in 4, exhaling on 4.
Okay.
Breathe in, hold 4, exhale 4.
I'm assuming because a box is 4 squares.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Another breathing technique is nostrils, is where you hold one side of the nose, breathe in for 4 seconds, exhale on the same side. Do the same side for about a minute or 2 and switch. Go on to the other one, hold one nostril, 4 breaths, 4 seconds of breathing in, 4 seconds on the way out. This is proven to really calm down the heart rate as well as lower the blood pressure over time.
Should we try these?
I think we should.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's start box breathing.
You want to do the box breathing?
Yeah,
So
so-
it's the 4 breaths in?
Yeah, maybe I should set a timer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the nose breathing, I think we should try the same as well. So it's just plugging one side of the nose, okay, while holding it. Go ahead and do 4 breaths or inhale in. And then exhale.
Are you switching sides?
Let's stay on the same side. So through the readings, it does say it adds resistance to the pathways, and it can make a euphoric feeling, which
You have to do that for hours, pretty much, right?
yeah, but
Okay.
even in that little bit of time frame, I feel slightly different from it. We don't think about our breathing as a whole, so when we're conscious of our breathing, we're getting a lot more into it.
Yeah, even just, a simple application of this is just to think about how you're breathing.
Yeah.
That alone can have impacts, and he mentions that in the book as well. And I think one of the craziest parts, you mentioned the experiences you can have just from breathing. One of the harder breathing techniques where you're purging for hours.
Like David Blaine does before his.
Some of those techniques, if you're doing that hard, heavy breathing for hours, it can actually lead to psychedelic effects, which is pretty crazy. So it's just, we know so little about breathing, and it's such an important, constant thing that we're doing. But I think, speaking of David Blaine, let's kind of culminate this with a test. We're gonna do some breath holding. So hopefully neither of us passes out.
Well, we have
Or
each other.
both of us pass out.
So we're both going to do it at the same time too, and it's probably going to be a competition. So we'll see what happens.
So here I actually have written up the strategy, and it's basically 3 steps. You're gonna be breathing in, holding for 2 seconds, and exhaling for 10.
Through like a whistle.
A whistle, just to slow yourself down.
Okay.
Step 2 is the hyperventilating, so the purging that you've seen Blaine do a lot, which is like quick, heavy breathing.
And what is the thought process behind that? Is to get rid of all the CO2 in your body?
CO2, so you're building up resistance to CO2, you're purging the CO2 out of your body, and then you're doing the big breath hold, and your body is acclimated to holding that CO2 in. So it basically just makes your body used to the CO2 excess that you're getting when you're taking such a deep breath.
Okay, makes sense. And then the third part being the actual holding of the breath?
Exactly. So breathe in and hold. So we're gonna go through 3 cycles. We'll speed this up on the camera just so that you're not bored out of your minds by watching this.
Play a little tune behind it as well.
Yeah, but so we're gonna do a minute 30 of breathing in and holding every 2 seconds, or holding for 2 seconds. a minute 15 of hyperventilating, and a minute 30 breathe in and hold. And we're gonna repeat that 3 times, basically.
You got your timer there set, Chuck?
Yeah, let's do this. Okay, ready? Minute 30, go. Really?
Yeah. I mean, as kids, like, oh, who can hold their breath the longest underneath the water?
3 minutes is pretty solid.
Yeah.
I mean, I expected us to go 4 fully.
4 fully?
Yeah.
Did you breathe out at that end there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, dude, I had like too much oxygen in my breath was like, I was like,
Okay. Yeah, did
So
you,
then I
hear,
kinda
did you hear
like-
that little trickle in
Yeah,
my
I
throat?
did.
Like,
I kept hearing noises.
That was me like trying to keep it closed.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to exhale it at all. I
Yeah.
wanted to keep it in. But I feel like you can also get to a point. I also felt like I could inhale more.
Yeah.
You know, so I was at a point where I was like, well, if I can just go a little bit more,
Yeah,
I can last a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's not the point of this.
yeah.
Another
Just
thing,
static breath hold.
I felt kind of nauseous during
Oh, really?
the hyperventilating part. Yeah. So.
Did you get tingly at all?
Yeah, I got tingly. Yeah, I mean a little sweaty in my palms.
Yeah.
But definitely after like the moment I held the breath after the hyperventilation, like it was kind of like blurry, but then it got back to normal for me.
Dude, I started hearing weird noises. Like I heard noise.
I saw
much more
I saw stuff
intensely.
shifting around. Like
Really?
yeah, like the pillow was moving a little bit. I thought like things were moving, and that's probably the
It's just is it your lack of
oxygen to the brain.
or,
Well, we have
or
oxygen.
excess of CO2 to the brain?
Well, we're
Like when you
exhaling.
breathe in.
Oh no, it's the buildup of the
Of
CO2.
CO2, because you breathe in and then you're like,
And then we're holding
Whoa.
it, and then there's CO2 building up.
yeah.
But I firmly believe that spending a little bit on these techniques, that 3 minutes can go to 4 goes to 5,
Yeah.
and
Next thing you know, you're going 14 minutes on pure oxygen.
Yep. And oxygen itself is once again a natural part of life.
That was crazy how easy it was. When I saw 2 minutes, I kept thinking after minute 1, I was like, wow, that was so easy.
Yeah.
Like
2.5,
minute 2,
I
I
was
was
like-
like, okay, I'm chilling.
Yeah.
3, I was like, okay, this is about the point where I need a breath.
Getting a little uncomfortable.
I wasn't like dying though, you know? Like if I was really gonna push it and see, I think we could have gotten to 4.
See, another thing is that we're totally stationary too.
Yeah.
So we try to minimize as much movement. I felt myself shrugging at first, but
Yeah.
then I totally
I should have
relaxed.
put my phone down, I realized, because I was like this the whole
Yeah.
time.
I was staring right at the camera.
Really? You
Yeah.
were you actually?
Yeah, well, I was looking.
Dude, I was like,
that whole time. That's not fun to watch.
I mean, we're gonna speed it up, and you're like,
Yeah, so
giving
you'll
them
see.
the David Blaine eyes as you're doing it.